Hi folks, today I can finally confirm through trusted sources that we're getting finally some exciting Sony announcements, probably two separate announcements for lens and camera, and we are definitely, or most definitely, getting a Sony A7V. I got a confirmation through multiple trusted sources, so this is not a speculation or a wild rumor like for example the DJI was. This is something coming from sources whom I trust and gave me correct info in the past. And there are many now telling me there's something big coming from Sony, and today I want to talk about why the Sony A7V took so long. They explained to me why the launch was delayed and also hint you about what to expect about the camera. The full specs that I'm working on will be released in a future video soon, and so this is more like a anticipatory talk and a bit of a teasing of the new camera and probably also of the new lens coming, because there are some quite interesting aspects going on at Sony right now. Okay, folks, before we kick off, a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button to not miss out the upcoming rumors. I think we can all agree that this year was pretty unexciting from Sony when it comes to cameras, not lenses, because the lenses were great, like the 51-52.0 is a stunning lens, but the cameras were somehow disappointing because both cameras, the FX2 and the RX1R3, are basically cameras that use existing tech repackaged to launch a new model. The FX2, what was mainly disappointing was the sensor, because it uses A7IV sensor, so with crop and all the limitation the sensor has, so not really a scene optimized sensor, and that's my main problem with the FX2. With the RX1R3, I also got the feeling they only used existing tech. Lens they could have definitely improved to make it or optically superior or smaller. They didn't touch it. They used a small AVF with the smallest resolution possible, which is also disappointing. They could maybe have used a new small compact IBIS tech inside this camera. They didn't do anything, so they didn't develop new tech specifically for the FX2 or the RX1R3. And both cameras are expensive for what they are, although they still make sense. So FX2 still makes sense because it has the integrated EVF, which is useful. The RX1R3 is still pretty unique, considering that the only competitor in the full frame segment is the Leica, which is more expensive. Now, before this on Sony A7V, something else that I just got from a source. It appears we're getting two announcements. One is for a lens, and that will happen before the Sony A7V announcement and then the Sony A7V announcement. So in my next videos, I will tell you the exact announcement date of the next lens and what to expect. I still don't know if it's a 100mm 2.8 GM macro that was rumored already 1 month ago, could be, but I'm awaiting confirmation. Within the next 1-2 days, I should get a final message from trusted sources telling me this is the lens coming. So keep in mind, there's first one lens announcement coming pretty soon. So stay tuned on this channel, again subscribe, because maybe even tomorrow, after tomorrow, I can tell you when this announcement will happen, what to expect, okay? From what I understood, the Sony A7V will be announced after that. So time frame October, November. So within October, November, we will get the Sony A7V. Actually, one of my trusted sources also knows the exact date, but he doesn't feel to share it right now. So hopefully in the next 1-2 weeks, when more people inside Sony know about the date, then I can tell you exactly when to expect the Sony A7V. Okay, folks. Now let's talk first why the Sony A7V launch has been delayed, because it's quite interesting, and that's what Sony told to a group of people. There are basically two reasons. One is the introduction of the new tariffs created uncertainty, prompting to wait until the situation became clear. A news source told me that on September 22, Sony US will raise the prices on cameras and lenses, something between 5 and 10% across the board. So apparently Sony had to decide what the new price strategy will be for the gear that is already in the market and the gear that is coming soon, like the Sony A7V and the lens that will be announced still this autumn, okay? So that's one of the reasons. So we will see also in September 22, if that one source is right, that we will have price increases in the US. So by the way, if you want to order your camera and lens, you have something on your wish list, I would just not take any chance and buy it or pre-order it before September 22. So I will link down the description box to the Sony Alpha page at BH Photo, Amazon, so forth. So again, there is no guarantee that in this case that this new source is right, but if it's right, better to have booked the camera or lens before September 22, okay? The second reason why the camera has been delayed, and that is 100% confirmed via multiple sources, because here I have very good sources, is that there was a bottleneck in the Sony camera production. So that is something I already told you back in spring, like for example, cameras like the Sony A7V were constantly out of stock, but cameras like the Sony A7V that are likely to be a high success among us photographers, so they will sell in high numbers, you have to be sure that your production can keep up. Now I know you want me to spill out all the specs of the Sony A7V. Now, I confessed one of the trusted sources gave me those specs. He got them directly from Sony, but he precisely asked me to double and triple check them before, because he wants to be sure that Sony didn't fool him or whatever. So what I'm doing now is double, triple checking those specs with other sources. And now to you, if you heard something, read something, and you find something about the Sony A7V, contact me using this email address and contact form. Everything you find helps to get a better picture, and based on the specs I got, I will quickly learn if the info you will send me is likely to be reliable or not. And hopefully next week, I hope, but that's just my hope, next week I can give you the full spec list of the Sony A7V. Now, what can I tell you about the Sony A7V now in general? If, without telling you the exact specs, if those specs will get confirmed, there are a couple of surprises. So I think this camera will sell hot, even if it's not a revolution. So we don't expect a revolution. If those specs get confirmed, every aspect of the camera will be improved without like a crazy new tech that we haven't seen truly before. There will be improvements on some tech, but nothing revolutionary, but a very solid update, and also the one I was hoping to get. I was afraid it would have the same Sony A7IV sensor. If confirmed, we're getting a better sensor. So that's the one thing I can tell you, that I'm 99% certain that we are not getting the Sony A7IV sensor, and that's already good news in my opinion. And for the rest, I do believe this will be something like the A12 over the A1, which was an incremental update. I think the A7V will be a bigger update compared to the A7IV. So can you just by the fact that it doesn't use very likely the same sensor, so it's a new sensor, much more capable sensor, and this alone plus all other improvements, in my opinion, will make it a winner. Which means a camera that, while not super exciting, because I don't know, maybe you expect a 50 megapixel stacked sensor like the A12 on this camera, it's not going to happen, of course, or you expect whatever crazy feature that we had never have seen before. That's not going to happen. It's an evolutionary camera, but still, in my opinion, they made the right choices to make it a hot seller. That's what I can tell you. So sorry, apologize if I cannot share more, but I have to respect the trusted source and also wait for the other sources. Other sources told me the A7V is coming, and they will, as soon as they can, share more details. So as soon as I can, I will tell you more. But to wrap it up, the Sony A7V is coming within October and November. So that's confirmed. Before that, we are getting another lens announcement. So before the Sony A7V announcement, we're getting lens announcement, and you can expect here in that case, yes, that very soon I can give you some details about what lens to expect, maybe the 100mm 2.8 GM macro, and at what day exactly, because there I'm really close to give you the information. Regarding Sony A7V, it's going to be an evolution and not a revolution, but the gap will be bigger between the A7V and A7IV and A7V than the gap between the A1 and the A12. The sensor will not be the same as the A7 IV. So now let me know in the comment system what you think about the A75. I only gave you a general prospect about this camera, but let me know if you're excited about this, if you're considering to buy it. What's the minimum features you hope to get? Below that you will be disappointed. If those specs are there, then you will buy it. And that's really it. Now I really have to quit doing this video. I will shortly edit it because in 2 hours I have to again hike up to another Dolomite location near the Rosengarten, if you know it. Check up a spot where we are likely to shoot one art image with climbers and everything, so that will be quite funny. But hopefully when I'm back I will already have some more info about the next Sony camera and lens announcement. That would be nice. So if you know something, let me know, okay? Folks, see you soon.